This morning, there is an arrest warrant out for an ICE agent for his actions during the Minnesota immigration crackdown. Minnesota prosecutors have charged Agent Gregory Donnell Morgan Jr. with second-degree assault with a dangerous weapon, alleging he pointed his government-issued firearm at two people in another vehicle as he drove by in an unmarked car along the side of the highway in February. Now, these charges are the first brought against a federal agent after the Twin Cities crackdown. But Minnesota officials say they are investigating more than a dozen incidents. ICE and DHS have yet to respond to MS Now's request for comment on these charges. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty is joining us now. Thank you so much. So what happened there in Minnesota with this federal crackdown earlier this year left a lot of scars in your community, from the fatal shootings to the deployment of chemical agents in residential areas. It was riddled with well-documented, legally questionable incidents involving federal agents. Why is this case the first to lead to charges? Does the evidence set it apart?
The reason this is the first one that led to charges was because it came to us the way most cases come to us. In other words, law enforcement received a call from a community member that somebody on the highway was pointing a gun at them. The state patrol responded and they did an investigation. They interviewed the ICE agent. And so we had all of the information that we don't have or hadn't had in the other cases, because the federal government has been blocking our access to that information. So we were able to go ahead and charge that case.
Have you heard anything from federal officials since you issued this warrant for Morgan's arrest? Any updates on his whereabouts?
We have not heard from the federal government. We do not know where he is.
You have said this case has virtually none of the obstacles that have made it difficult to prosecute the fatal shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, but federal agents, they still have broad immunity. Is Hennepin County prepared to go head-to-head with the federal government?
We absolutely are. And I should say we were able to charge the case because we don't have those obstacles. We expect that once Mr. Morgan is in custody, that we start the process, that he will probably make a motion to remove to federal court. He may ask for supremacy clause immunity. We are absolutely prepared to litigate those issues, as we have been for quite some time. We've been working with two law firms in Washington, D.C., who pro bono, who are experts on these issues. So we are well prepared to litigate those issues, if it's in federal court or state court.
And you said yesterday that this is just one of 18 incidents involving federal agents that your office is now investigating, including the killings of Good and Preddy. Are you expecting to file more charges?
So we are investigating the killings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy and the shooting of Julio Sosa Solis. We also announced our Transparency and Accountability Project, where we started out with 17 cases that we were investigating, and we've received information about other cases, so we continue to investigate those. I do expect other charges at some point here.
Any updates on the investigations into Good and Preddy's deaths?
We're moving along on those cases. As you know, we filed a lawsuit in Washington, D.C., asking the judge to order the federal government, meaning the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security, to provide us with the information that we asked for. As you know, we filed what are called TUI notices, making our case for why we should get information in those cases, and we received no response from the DOJ. So we filed that lawsuit. I believe the government has until May to respond to that lawsuit, so we're waiting to hear from them.
Your state has been through so much this last year. What have you been hearing from Minnesotans since you filed these charges?
Actually, I've been hearing from the entire country and Canada and Mexico. I've gotten a flood of emails, and they're very heartwarming. They're thank you, heartfelt thank you that the federal government is being held accountable for their behavior here. And so I think this is really meaningful, I know, for our community to see that something is actually happening to hold people accountable who inflicted this damage on our community. But also nationwide, we're receiving a lot of support.
Mary Moriarty, thank you for being with us.